The Spurs have a golden opportunity. With March Madness fully underway, we're getting a perfect view at prospects that would be perfect fits for the San Antonio Spurs, and one name out of Duke and one out of Georgia in particular give the Spurs a chance to do something very special with this roster. We got to break down a couple of names that are circulating among Spurs fans and exactly the impact they'll make on the San Antonio Spurs coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest. But first, guys, I got to remind you that we do have a March Madness bracket, and guess what? Your bracket is busted. So is mine. But in our bracket in partnership with Hot Takes, you can still win thousands of dollars by predicting the round still to come, as you just need to check out our March Madness bracket in partnership with Hot Takes. It's completely free to sign up. Just username and password. Download the Hot Takes app. Click the March Madness banner at the top. Click groups. Click Digest Media Pool. You can join. There's over 25 grand to be won overall. And even just for the round of 32, you can win over $7,000. And look, the smaller pool means there's a better chance to win. Just scan the QR code. Put the code DIGEST, all caps in there, completely risk-free, like I said. And there's a new round to win money for free after every single round of the tournament. If your bracket's busted, it literally doesn't matter. You can still join the Hot Takes pool down below. Link in the description, pinned comment. If you have any trouble signing up, email us in the email down below as well. Thank you to Hot Takes for partnering. March Madness is exciting, and we're transitioning right into this right now. And look, the mock draft, we know where the Spurs are set to pick right now, and the Atlanta Hawks pick is, look, they're winning, and that kind of sucks, but right now, they're not in the lotto. So we're focusing strictly on the San Antonio Spurs, and right now we're slotted in 9th, and that could very well change, though the Spurs winning their last game against the New York Knicks with that Sandro masterclass is, making us question where we're going to end up, but between 7, 8, 9, that seems to be the case, probably 8 or 9. So when you're looking here, there's certain names that you're attracted to as Spurs fans, right? And I've made my thoughts clear that I don't think Jeremiah Fears is something I'd really want. I am personally not a huge fan of Tre Johnson. I think he's an amazing scorer, but I think he's one of those guys that's going to want the ball in his hands a lot and might not thrive in the Spurs system. Just my completely random non-scout, non-analytic takes, but I truly believe that with the San Antonio Spurs, and I think you guys will too. But there's a few names here, and I want to dive into an article first that I will link down below. I believe it was from Pounding the Rock, looking into some Spurs draft targets. And the first one I'm going to mention is actually who the Spurs are projected to draft here at the Tankathon website, and that's Asa Newell out of Georgia. Now, if you've been following March Madness, Georgia just did get knocked out by Gonzaga in a pretty convincing win by the Bulldogs, but Asa Newell's very interesting. Now, he's listed at 6'11", though, I'm skeptical on that. Here he's listed at 6'10". Some places saying he might even be an inch shorter. But the thing with Asa Newell is that he appears on pretty much every mock for the San Antonio Spurs. You see his name all the time. Why? Because he's a big man. Now, the thing with him, he's extremely athletic. I mean, you watch him play, he's hustling constantly. He's getting rebounds. He averaged a block and a steal a game, and his stats in college have been quite good. Right now, you can see 15.4 points, 7 rebounds, only 1 assist, and his three-point shooting has not been amazing, but he can still knock him down. He's a lefty. And the thing with Asa Newell is that he's a hustle guy. And a lot of places have him pegged as like, look, worst case scenario, he can be a nice bench piece. And to be honest, with the San Antonio Spurs right now, bringing in a guy that over his last 5 games has scored 20, 21, 15, 11, and 10 with a 17 rebounds in a college game. Like, this guy has potential to do something special. Now, the defensive stats have not been there in these recent tournament games and, the championship games there in the conference. And he has committed some turnovers and some fouls, but overall really not bad for a college freshman. And when you watch him play, the thing that stands out to me about Asa Newell is the fact that he never ever gives up. Like, the ball gets into his hands, he is hustling to get a dunk pretty much every time when he's down low. On defense, his energy is always high, and that's all you can really ask for, not to mention that there's a possibility his shot could develop even to be a decent three-point shooter. So some hustle, some energy, some rebounding, some dunks down low, high field goal percentage shots, and the ability to eventually maybe stretch the floor a little bit. To me, doesn't that sound like the perfect backup to Victor Wembanyama? Look, I mean, we look at the team right now. We look at who the backups are to Wemby. Of course, we got Biyombo, we got Bassey, we got Mamikhalishvili. Hopefully, Sandro sticks around. But, someone like an Asa Newell who fits better on this timeline could be a very good pick for San Antonio. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Newell down below, because I see his name circulating a lot. I'm not completely sold on him. I do think there are some drawbacks to his game. I don't think he's going to really get the run necessary to develop as good as he can, because I don't see him being a starting 4 for this team. And I think he's one of those tweeners between a 4 and a 5 where you're not really sure what you're going to want to play. But hey, the Spurs they're no stranger to that. Seeing Sochan play the 5 recently. So let me know your thoughts on him, because I think a lot of you might not like him. But listen, there's one guy that I really like targeting in this range, and you see him here on this list at Tankathon, and that's Kon Knueppel. I really, really like him in this 7 to 10 range, wherever the Spurs land. And my simple explanation as to why is he's a great shooter. He has other aspects to his game as well, but he's just efficient. He's efficient. He's effective, right? And he's a freshman too. Like this kind of player profile, you see guys who can play kind of like Kon Knueppel come into the draft as sophomores, as juniors, right? But this guy's a freshman doing some very interesting stuff. And oh, that was Asa Newell stats. But look, 14.4 points per game right now in college. But the big thing, 47% from the field. He's 6'7", but he plays more as a guard. 39% from 3, 91% from the free throw line. And you watch him play, he's straight up an elite shooter, right? You saw the highlight clips at the beginning. I might even roll those again in a minute. But he has been playing unbelievable. In that last game against Louisville, I believe he was named the ACC tournament MVP, right? I could be wrong about that. I haven't kept super up to date. I'm focusing on March Madness now. Now, we don't know how his first game's going to go, but still, 18 points there against Louisville with 8 rebounds. 17 points with 4 rebounds against UNC. 28 and 8 and 5 up against Georgia Tech, not to mention 2 steals and a block. Again, the turnovers can be a bit of an issue, but he's playing nearly 40 minutes a night. He is effective every single time he's on the floor, and his play style fits perfectly with this team. I don't know how long Harrison Barnes is going to stick around with the Spurs. I would assume he's gone after 25-26 if he's not traded before then. I've liked him, but bringing in a guy like Kon Knueppel, his play style, when you watch him play, I'll just cycle these. You'll see Asa Newell and some Kon Knueppel in here as well, along with Brian Wright. Hi, Brian. But his playstyle would fit so perfectly alongside Victor Wembanyama. I think Newell would be a good energy backup big, but if you can get this kind of guy here like Knueppel, look at that pass too. Not to mention he's a knockdown shooter. Well, I mean, that's kind of the big thing with him, right? His ability to shoot the 3 ball, even finish through traffic at times when you're watching him play. Like, he's getting to the rim. He's fearless going against bigger guys. Now, that kind of stuff might not fly as much in the NBA. Again, having him on the wing with a guy like Wemby running a pick and roll with someone else, and having a weapon like Knueppel who can play the 2 or the 3 as a starter or off the bench, probably off the bench, is absolutely perfect. And that's what the Spurs need in my mind, right? You have Wemby, fill your team up with amazing shooters and guys who can score in other ways as well. And look, Knueppel, as much as he looks to be one of those guys that could maybe be like, oh, great college scorer, but like at the NBA, maybe he's not going to get as many drives, this. He might just be relegated to a pure shooting role. I don't think he's going to be a pure shooter. I think he can score a little more in other ways, not to mention he's not a bad passer and really not a bad rebounder in college at all. I mean, reminder, this dude averaged 4 boards a game because he is 6'7". So I'm excited about these 2 names, more so Kon Knueppel, but I think there's probably some other names that you guys like more. Let me know your thoughts on the Spurs' upcoming draft down below. It's March Madness season, and hey, I couldn't be more excited. And hey, if you want to win some free money, like literally free money, I'm in it. I'm going to remake my bracket for the round of 32 as soon as the games today are done. So let me know your thoughts down below and join our league. It's completely free. It's awesome. But that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching every single day. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.